Hi, Paul Slack. Good News Planet. This is a very exciting and important interview. We have our good friend Errol Rappaport. Hey, Errol, how are you?
Okay, hey Paul, how are you today?
And we have Errol's good friend, who's now my good friend also, Leonard Atlas. Hi, Leonard, how are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for having me here today.
Errol's he's brought us so many wonderful people doing wonderful things. And you see all this fresh air and behind all those trees. And we're going to talk about a way to be healthier. And we're going to talk about a way to be healthier, not only outside, but inside. And Leonard, Errol will tell you in a moment or two, and the company he's involved with is doing very, very important work to get us back on track here after the COVID scenario. So, and just overall in general, to live more cleanly and healthy. Errol, tell us what's happening.
Well, Leonard Atlas is a friend of mine for over 35 years. And he called me one day about this new product that he was working on, where he's now the global distributor for, which is such a fantastic product. And I believe it's the only way that we're going to be able to feel safe when we go indoors in the future. It takes care of cleaning the air in restaurants, hospitals. It was originally designed for hospitals. And he will tell you about it. And I mean, it's just amazing. Also, I know for all the nonprofits now, FEMA will reimburse people 100%. So it's just great on every level. Leonard, your show, Leonard. You're the main man.
Thank you very much. I'm going to put some slides up to make it visual because I know people don't want to just see three old guys on the screen. So I hope everybody. So thank you, Errol. Thank you, Paul. So yes, my name is Leonard Atlas, and I am my company is Synergistic Sanitizing Solutions, and I will share with you, this is the first of many companies I've ever started that didn't start as a business at first. Last March in 2020, when my daughter's high school and my other daughter's college closed, as a family, we got very concerned what it was going to take for the school systems to open up safely, that we'd feel comfortable having our kids go back into class. So I contacted the school systems and I said, please tell me what your protocols are. And they sent me over documentation, and I was not a very technically oriented person or scientific. So I built a team of scientists and chemists and engineers, and I forwarded them the documentation. And they said, can you see these words, corrosive and combustible and flammable and skin irritant? And I called back to schools and I said, you know that this stuff is worse than the virus itself? Why are you going to spray the schools and the desks with harmful stuff? Long story short, this motivated me out of necessity to recognize that the market was not aware of what to do yet, and there needed to be solutions. So we started Synergistic Sanitizing Solutions, and our goal is very simple, as you've heard from Paul and Errol. It is to harden the pathogen reduction infrastructure, that's new language today, for any indoor facility to stay open or reopen safely, effectively, quickly, and affordably. Those are all important. At the same time, helping management reduce their risk of liability, financial risk, and any potential negative publicity. So our mission is to protect as many lives as possible. It certainly started off with my daughters as students, but patients, first responders, we work with military personnel, everybody. And as Errol mentioned to you, FEMA has come to the rescue for many, and I'll talk about that. So real quickly, we just want to give you a very quick overview of what it is. And first we have to start with the invisible threat. And the invisible threat that we now know scientifically is people. When we exhale in a space, we are the source of COVID-19 transmission and contamination. Now, not only are people, and I don't want to be too graphic, but toilets. Flushing toilets is the biggest creative of a plume of pathogens, especially in public buildings where they don't have a lid on them. So we're inhaling a very large dose of harmful pathogens. And as a result of that, we wear masks and double masks and triple masks and shields and gloves and everything. People are afraid of breathing shared indoor air, rightfully so, but we have a solution. Now, as we start looking at solutions, it's important for us to understand, and facilities managers, building executives, owners, people running schools and municipalities, they're aware that there are dangers, but they don't know just how severe. So if you look at the chemicals, you can see all these harmful words in red. If you look at the UV technology, and we are going to be talking about UV lighting at the moment, but there is a distinction between unsafe for humans and safe for humans. The one you see on the bottom left and the top left, the bottom left is an operating room. This has been going on for 100 years. UV light is very effective at killing pathogens in an empty room, but it can be harmful to humans, causing blindness and cancer. So the only form of UV light that is safe for humans is if it's protected and shielded, and we'll share that with you. Now, over the last year, we've been exposed to over 400 different products, and we needed a system to vet which ones were good and which ones were not good. Most of the 400 did not meet our criteria. And here are the 8 criteria, which we'll go through just very quickly. We all agree it's got to be human safe. We don't want to be in experiments. We're not guinea pigs. Number 2, we wanted to kill the pathogens, not trap the pathogens. Many people are buying what they think are tools, but they're really toys. For example, HEPA filters, very commonly used. HEPA filters only trap, like a vacuum bag. Everything's in that when you empty the vacuum cleaner bag. HEPA filters don't kill, it traps, and technically they need to be disposed of in full PPE as biohazardous waste. So very, very risky proposition. Number 3 is we would only accept a product that had significant third-party scientific validation. Many products have been created within the year as COVID entrepreneurs and COVID opportunistic people. As Errol said to you, this technology dates back over a decade for hospital-acquired infections. So this is a very seriously but proven product, and we'll share that with you. Number 4 is episodic versus continuous. We walk into hotels and buildings, those that are open, and we see people spraying up and down and mopping and doing things. Those are all episodic. We're talking to you about something that is very unusual. It is 24/7, 365 at the source of contamination, and we'll share that with you. We're also going to talk about the fact that there is not a single piece of scientific evidence that shows that any device you put on the floor or the desk behind you or any way you rig your HVAC system, that's heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, will kill pathogens. Overhead installation is what the CDC recommends, and ASHRAE, and all of the scientific bodies. Number 6 is one size fits all. This is too important to buy a few things on Amazon or online and just plug them in randomly. Every solution we do, every facility we do, we get blueprints from the client, and we have our team of engineers in Michigan and New York configure for every single room based upon square footage, cubic footage, intended occupancy, furniture, and obstacles. We take this very, very seriously. Number 7 is cost, financing, ROI. Companies have been out of business for a year. They've been open, they've been closed, they're experiencing hard times. We know it's got to be affordable, and we're going to share with you a few different vehicles that we have, including leasing with 100% financing, as well as the FEMA program that Errol mentioned. The bottom line is we've always been able to demonstrate the ROI, the return on investment, as being a very wise decision. And then finally is the maintenance frequency and cost. You know, the other issue with the sprays, other than being harmful, is the maintenance. They require a live person who's making $20, $30 an hour, $30,000, $40,000 a year. They're very, very expensive. You'll see that UV Angel works for a year before you need to change the bulb and filter for $105. Very economical, very effective. Now, the science behind UV Angel is really important. Dr. Linda Lee, who you may not know by name, but if you look her up, she has spent the better part of 30 years of her career on one topic: researching invisible pathogens. She's been hired by the US government on many occasions to consult on biological and chemical warfares. Today, she sits on CDC committees as well as ASHRAE committees. She and her team of collaborators over the last decade have filed for and have secured over 109 patents on the technology we're about to show you. So for the purpose of this interview, we're going to kind of make it more of an overview. The UV Angel platform consists of 3 components. The UV Angel Air is the heart and soul. It's a 2x4 fixture that's meant to go into a tile ceiling. So if you know, in most healthcare facilities, most classrooms, many offices, they have a 2x4 ceiling tile. We simply remove a tile and replace our UV Angel. We have a version with a downlight, and we have a version without a downlight. So many facilities we talk to still have old fluorescent lights. This is an upgrade for them, that it becomes more energy efficient. They receive credits and rebates for being energy efficient, and it also has a pathogen reduction component. So real simply, without getting too technical, there's a fan on the left side that brings the air in from the room. It goes across to a contamination-proof patented UV chamber that kills the pathogens, and then a fan on the right brings it back into the room. Now, these units were developed for hospital ICUs that are 10-foot by 10-foot, 8-foot ceilings. That's 800 cubic feet. And at the rate that the fans work of 50 CFM, cubic feet per minute, they clean that air entirely every 15 minutes. So a typical medical room or dental room is sanitized 4 times an hour. When we go to a space that's not as pathogen rich as an ICU, but a restaurant, a school, a hotel, etc., we don't go every 100 feet, we go every 200 or 300 feet, whatever's appropriate. But these units get plugged in, they get installed, and they work for a year without any touching of it at all. In the middle, you'll see the UV Surface Angel Adapt. Because of, again, for hospitals, but also schools and many businesses and restaurants, they have a lot of shared keyboards. And it's not just keyboards, but it could be ATM machines, shared computers, touch screens. We have a miniature version with a little UV light that USB plugs in, and it sanitizes the unit, but it also connects with GPS, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. And if you look on the right, you'll see the UV Angel app. We all know that today data is king. And if everybody wants to help reduce their risk and liability, they need evidence and proof to show that they actually had pathogen reduction technology installed in those facilities. Every single cleaning episode goes in there. Now, if you set a protocol that you want your computer keyboards cleaned every hour or every time they're moved from room to room, and if that does not happen, the app is going to notify the facilities manager. So this is a very important system that is with monitoring and reporting, very unlike anything else in the marketplace today. Now, UV Angel has spent somewhere between $3 and $4 million on third-party testing. The summary are 88 pathogens that have been tested. Many of them are languages we can't, words we can't even pronounce. But if you look at the one we highlighted is coronavirus Wuhan, that is what we're dealing with now. And if you look at the far right column, you will see a total of 100%. That is scientifically the kill rate of coronavirus Wuhan from one pass through the UV Angel is 100% kill rate. If you go look a few lines down, you'll see Ebola, 100%. It's killing mold and mildew and bacteria. Many facilities are buying this not only for COVID, but because they have mold and mildew in the facilities. That was the summary. Here are the 5 third-party peer-reviewed studies. And you can see 99.9%. Now, in the previous slide, you saw 100%. That's the actual kill rate, but the US government only allows you to say up to 99%. So somewhere between 99.99 and 100% is the effective kill rate. So let's look at the effectiveness of putting the units in the ceiling as opposed to around the room. Number one, as you're going to see now, they work 24/7 at the source of contamination. Where people are, where they're breathing, where they're conversing, where they're hanging out, the units are right above their heads. They're unobtrusive and take up no space. There's no human operator needed, and you can see how well clinically proven they are. Now, if you look at McDonald's, you'll see they have hi-hat lighting. So they didn't need the unit with light. So you can see the UV Angels in between the hi-hats spaced out throughout the space. And the average one-story McDonald's takes 10 UV Angels. So it'll give you a sense, and 5 of the surface adapts for their keyboards. If you look at the Starbucks picture, you'll see they don't have a 2x4 ceiling tile. So the units can be mounted, suspended from aircraft cable so that they are 8 to 12 feet off the ground. Down below, you see ESPN that is contracted with the UV Angel for all their trailers where their employees are there for hours and hours recording events. And they have 2x2 ceiling tiles. So you can see we piggyback over 2 of them to make a 2x4. And on the right, you'll see a Hilton hotel with a sheetrock ceiling. So in this case, they cut a hole and they flush mount it into the ceiling. So we've always found a way to install the UV Angels safely, securely, and ethically. Now, every building we walk into these days has stickers where to stand and where to walk. We've turned our stickers into an educational and marketing campaign called the Lookup Campaign. Before COVID, we didn't want to know what buildings were doing to keep the building safe and sanitary. Now we really want to know before we walk in, is it safe? So we have the Lookup Campaign that's showing you your building is being cleaned on your behalf. It is safe to be in here. So as we talked about with FEMA, originally we knew about the 4 boxes on the left called the critical services: education, emergency medical, emergency services, and utilities. FEMA is offering 3 things unusual now as before any other pandemic or issue. Typically, FEMA would pay 75% reimbursement. In this case, they're paying 100% reimbursement. So if you're a qualified entity, it's 100% reimbursement. Secondly, FEMA always used to pay after the damage. This FEMA bill calls for preventative. So FEMA understands that an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. They'd rather help pay for the remediation of pathogens and reduction of pathogens indoors than deal with the disaster afterwards. And thirdly, they're calling them accelerated reimbursements. We believe that within 30 to 60 days, each client will be reimbursed by FEMA. So whether you're in healthcare, emergency medical, utilities, or nonprofit sector, senior centers, food banks, houses of worship, libraries, we have the link. We'll send you to the FEMA website. You fill out your own application. They give you a commitment that they will reimburse. We then invoice you. You send it to FEMA. They reimburse, and the process starts. So this was a very abridged version because we wanted to just give you kind of the overview. But as a result of seeing this, if your interest is in seeing the scientific studies, you can go to our website and review them. If you'd like to get a quote, we're happy to do that once we have a conversation with you and review your blueprints or floor plans or reflective ceiling plans. And if you'd like to schedule a private call or Zoom with us to discuss your specific needs, we'd be happy to talk with you. So Paul, that's our quick overview to give people a sense of how we are protecting facilities from small to large. Whether it's a little pizzeria or a single chiropractic office or a 1 million square foot building or a 100 million square foot REIT organization, we are looking to protect as many lives and make it affordable to them with our leasing or the FEMA reimbursement.
And you got that FEMA reimbursement. I mean, why not?
Now, the FEMA program is only until the end of September. So those people that are eligible, we're encouraging them to look sooner than later so that they don't miss the deadline. But what I did not share with you is in our leasing program today, for an entity with decent credit, they can be leasing the UV Angels for as low as 83 cents a day. Now, is there an ROI? Is there a return on investment? If your accounting office or your security office needed one unit and it's less than $1 a day, can you argue with that? And by the way, could you spray and have a maintenance person come in and it costs you less than $1 a day? Impossible. And that's for episodic. This is less than $1 a day for 24/7 continued service. So Errol got wind of this and said, we have to bring this to New York. Now, I live in LA the last 30 years, but you can hear my voice. I'm Brooklyn born, Long Island raised, then spent 8 years in Gramercy Park. I'm a New Yorker at heart. I want to see New York open safely. I want to feel comfortable going into a restaurant and a hotel, but I want to know that the air is clean. And I don't want to be a guinea pig. I want proven technology that's got third-party validation. That's who we are. So Paul, thank you for this platform and allowing us to get our message out there.
It's great. So in essence, everybody, I mean, Leonard is definitely as knowledgeable can get. What a perfect presentation. Okay, we had a video. We don't need that video. He's a human video, and so I mean, it's very clear and very accurate and very important. So I can't recommend this more highly for everybody to utilize it, to go. You have Leonard's phone number. You can contact me, say that you saw this on Good News. Everything is fine.
Well, can I add one more comment, please?
Sure, please.
I respect that this phenomenon of killing pathogens in indoor spaces is new for everybody controlling facilities.
Sure. There's
an educational process that precedes the sales process. If you are a facilities person, if you own a building or involved, and your responsibility and liability are the occupants under your control or your facility, we're happy to have a conversation with you and discuss what technologies you're considering or you're piloting. Over the last year, many organizations have made expenses either for a pilot something or an initial phase, or they rolled something out that they've later learned has been debunked. It is not scientifically valid. The company's gone out of business, etc. We're happy to help you consult and understand what are you using. We will not be selling you. We'll be educating you and sharing the differences and the strengths and weaknesses of the products that you're looking at versus UV Angel. So that's our pledge to you.
Okay. All right. Perfect. I'm going to ask you one last question. Errol, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I was just wondering, Leonard, I know that at one point we were talking about the insurance companies, that the insurance companies are requiring certain businesses to have them.
Yes. During July and August, there were some very large corporations that were contacted by the insurance company saying, we're not going to reimburse your workers' comp claims for COVID if you don't follow CDC guidelines. And with that, we got many inbound calls. However, Errol, I just today got a copy of a bill that is in front of the New York State Legislative that if it's passed, it's going to be mandating employers, and it literally says, install engineered pathogen reduction controls. They didn't say UV Angel specifically, but when you scour the market, and I encourage people, scour the market. When you scour the market, now we don't know if this bill is going to pass in New York or not, or if it's going to be other states, but the point is, Errol, it's not just insurance company. As you heard, OSHA may be putting a mandate that you have to wear masks indoors at work. So this is changing on a daily basis. This has been my full-time business for the last year. My business, as you know, Errol, was global consulting in the sales world. And I used to be on airplanes and hotels every day and every week. That came to an end. And I saw this as maybe God's way of saying, this is what I should be doing, using my voice to help protect as many lives worldwide. So as the laws change, we're being kept abreast. As FEMA things happen, we're keeping people aware. We just got 2 reports, one on Monday, one today, totally debunking bipolar ionization technology. That was what they installed in the White House recently. And it's now been debunked as having no credibility and no effectiveness in killing pathogens. So even from the GSA in the White House, they made bad decisions and bad mistakes. It's not unusual. This is a new phenomenon for everybody. And we need to get good, objective information. So
this is good news. Good news.
Where can they see that? When can they see videos on this? You have the videos explaining it.
Well, I imagine when they see this video, they can, from Paul's website or from synergisticsanitizingsolutions.com On the front page, we have a 2-minute video that UV Angels just created, a kind of overview, very effective high-tech video. The studies we've shown are on our site. We have interviews. There's a great interview with Dr. Linda Lee on our website. It's about 4 minutes. She's being interviewed about what used to be one of the big issues, and that was putting UV lights in air conditioning systems. And Dr. Lee, with her clinical experience and style, debunks that as saying air conditioning was not meant to kill pathogens, it's meant to heat and chill air. So putting UV lights in your air conditioning is great for air conditioning maintenance, but it does nothing to protect the people in the rooms. So that video is on the website. Again, videos are on the website, printed materials on the website. We're here to talk with you. We're here to look at your blueprints. It's not an online purchase. This is not an e-commerce purchase. This is a very consultative process. It's step by step, and it's one that we take very seriously.
Okay, I think we got it here. All
Thank
right,
you.
everybody, pay attention here. I mean, if you're living in your own little home, but you did eventually will go to work somewhere, speak to your own people that you work at, the owners of your company, and say, how are you going to protect us from coming back into a work setting? I imagine is going to be a very important concern. Guys, thank you very much for sharing a lot of important good news. The website again, Leonard?
Synergistic Sanitizing Solutions.com.
Okay, and we'll
Piece of
indicate
cake
that as well.
That's the
All right.
hardest part of the process.
Perfecto. All right, guys, thank you very much. Appreciate the good news.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take
Good
care.
news.